Shanti. Are you all happy? Today we are going to see everything we need to know about Kriya Yoga. So this Kriya Yoga is something people widely believe to have been taught by Mahavatar Babaji to some of his disciples. So I have mentioned about Mahavatar Babaji in a separate video. You can see that to know whether or not it is true that he has been living for the past 2000 years. And now we are going to see what Kriya Yoga stands for. Especially in the West, they commonly refer yoga to some kind of stretching exercises, and they use this term Kriya Yoga to refer to stretching one's mind and not the physical body. So more or less they use this Kriya Yoga to refer to a type of meditation. So it matches more or less to the Patanjali yoga method, and it is very hard for you to know what they teach in Kriya Yoga, because they say they don't teach it publicly. So this is what every yoga teacher says, no matter what type of yoga they want to teach. And one thing is pretty sure, no matter what name they use for the kind of yoga they teach, they mostly resemble each other, if not the same. The same goes to Kriya Yoga. So all they do in public about Kriya Yoga is to say the benefits of Kriya Yoga, the experiences they had by performing Kriya Yoga, but they would never reveal what they were actually doing. And they would always say that you need a guru to learn it. You can't do it by yourself. If you still dare to do that, it would have very dangerous consequences. So we might wonder why they threaten us like that, but if you join that, you will know the answer. Because usually in any type of yoga there will definitely be a free session where they canvas you into accepting, into enrolling into that yoga class. So there will be around 1 hour class, or sometimes even 3-hour classes, but all the speeches they deliver in these introductory classes will be very attractive, that you won't hesitate to join it. And also they will use this marketing pitch that if you don't enroll it right now, you are just wasting your life, you are just delaying your success. So on hearing this strategy, you will feel compelled to enroll it right away. And now we are going to unravel all the myths that's been surrounding all types of yoga, and this Kriya Yoga in particular. So we are going to reveal everything you want to know. So first let's see what they promise. They say by performing Kriya Yoga you will experience certain miracles, like having vision of some kind of light in between the eyebrows, and you can listen to voices of your ancestors or deities or angels or the senior yogis, and you will have visions of them as well, and you will have strange peculiar sensations in your body in your vertebral column, sometimes in your forehead, and you will have some secretions in your forehead that will make you live without food and water. Just by tasting a drop of that secretion, you will be free from thirst and hunger. So these are some of the promises they say, and also they would say that your bad qualities will change, like the lust, anger, greed, so they will fade away gradually. These are the promises they made that you can get by doing Kriya Yoga. But we have to understand the meaning of Kriya Yoga. Yoga means union, the oneness with God. That is what yoga stands for. And Kriya means action. So Kriya Yoga means the action one performs while experiencing himself to be one with God, or doing all the things while connected continuously with God. That is what the meaning of Kriya Yoga is. So you can also call this Karma Yoga, because that's what the definition of Kriya Yoga is. That is, you are doing yoga while connected to God, while combined with God. Now we are going to see about Kriya Yoga in more detail. Let's see if and what do you get, what is the benefit of doing anything while connected with God. And they say that you will experience blissfulness throughout the day, no matter what you do, if you do Kriya Yoga. That's the promise they make. And basically what they teach in Kriya Yoga is, actually there are many lineages, so it differs within themselves a bit. So it basically comprises of a breathing techniques and chakra meditation and some kind of mantra chanting. Sometimes they will make you do some hard yogasanas, that is some kind of stretching exercises, physical stretching exercises. So this is what you will find in almost all yogas, not only in Kriya Yoga. In southern part of India they will call the same as Vasi Yoga. So they will give the same promise as the teachers of Kriya Yoga give. So breathing exercises, it is called pranayama. So what they basically do is to bring your attention to your breathing, and they will try to lengthen the duration that you hold your breath inside. So you are just lengthening that process, so that the number of breathing that takes place in a minute is significantly reduced, because they believe that the breathing pattern has some sort of connection with the mind and also the health. So people think if you breathe slowly, then you can live longer. And also they say if you are at peace, you will naturally see your breathing pattern decrease significantly. Similarly, while you were angry, you will find that your breathing pattern is significantly increased. So what they believe is by controlling the breathing pattern, one can control one's emotions so that they can be at peace as much as possible. That is how they want you to accept this breathing pattern as a part of Kriya Yoga, so that you can develop yourself spiritually and physically. So what they usually do is they will close one side of your nose, and they will make you inhale the air through one nose and let the air out of it through another nose, and that is what they do it, and this is what they call pranayama. So you have to inhale as deeply as possible and you have to retain it as much as possible, then you have to exhale it as slowly as possible. This is what pranayama is all about. And they will ask you to do empty stomach, and they will ask you to repeat it at least 10 times when you start doing in the morning time, and you can increase it gradually. So this is all about the breathing pattern. And the next thing is, sometimes they will do it as an alternative method. Instead of breathing, they will ask you to chant Om mantra maybe for 108 times or even more. And they say this Om sound is heard in the universe, so it has something to do with universe, and it brings the universal energy into you if you start chanting Om mantra continuously. So the more you chant it, the more is the possibility of you receiving more energy from the universe, so that you can be at peace all the time. And the next thing is the chakra meditation. They say that we have 7 invisible chakras in our body, starting from the one that is in the Mooladhara, which is present near the rectal area, and from there it will they will make you to concentrate on that chakra for a while, and then to another chakra that is present in the navel region, and on another chakra that is in the chest, and on another chakra that is in the throat, and the another chakra that is in the upper part of the throat, and in another chakra that is in between the eyebrows, and in another chakra that is above the head. So this is what they call as chakra meditation. So you have to visualize a fire in that chakra region. So the more you concentrate on a particular chakra, you will receive benefits that is specified for that area. For example, in the Mooladhara chakra, they say if you can energize that area, then you can get an enormous power, so that you can run your family very nicely. Then if you can raise to another chakra, then you can succeed very nicely in your business. And if you can energize the chakras in your head, then you can advance in your spiritual endeavor. So that's the promise they give for practicing chakra meditation. But these chakras, do they really exist? Well, we can't prove or disprove that because it is not visible. But do they really work? So does anyone experience anything out of it? And also, by performing the chakra meditation, if you succeed in bringing your consciousness up to the highest chakras, then they say you will experience movement in your spinal cord, something similar to the crawling of the snakes, and it will slowly enter your head, and you will start experiencing the blossoming of the lotus flower, in which you will have some kind of juicy secretion, and you can taste it in your mouth. And when you taste it, you will not have the feeling of hunger or thirst, but still you will stay energetic throughout the day. So does this happen to everybody who practice this? And what is the method to do that? And so are we practicing it correctly? Only if we experience these things, we will be discussing that now. And it is very hard for you to find anybody who is experiencing that, but actually it is written in Upanishads of the things that one can experience by practicing this Kriya Yoga, but it was mentioned as Kundalini Yoga in Upanishads. So as I mentioned earlier, all sorts of yogas boils down to the same technique. But does everybody who practice this experience the benefits they promise? That's something questionable, because it's very hard to find anybody who is experiencing that, but they just keep doing that, believing it that it will happen one day. But what happens usually is, after trying for years, if not for months, they'll just leave it, because they have many other things to pursue in life, right? So they think, I have tried my best, maybe I'm not destined to have that, maybe my guru is not blessing me with experiencing that, which is why I'm not able to experience that. So they convince themselves that they are incapable or ineligible to experience that. But is it true that nobody experiences that? Is it just a myth? Well, if I hadn't come to this knowledge, if I hadn't met people who experienced that, even I wouldn't believe that this actually is possible. Yes, it is possible. But is it possible by that technique? Well, the answer is yes and no. Because it doesn't matter what technique you use, it just matters the kind of faith you have in that technique that's going to reap you the result in the end. So if you are doing that technique mechanically, thinking that if you keep on doing that, it might get you that, it won't. But if you strongly believe that this will be the end result, then it will happen. But even when people are doing that, they don't get that result. You know why? Because they will get it, but when they get it, they do not know the time they made effort to get that. Yes, I'm speaking about the spirit, the soul. That is what we are. Yes, we are not this perishable body, we are the imperishable soul that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows. So whatever we think, it will definitely happen. But when will that happen? That's the $1,000,000 question. It will definitely happen, but when will that happen? It might happen at a time when you don't want that to happen. For example, maybe uh, you have got a child that is handicapped. Obviously you don't want that, right? But you know what, you want that child to be born that way, not now but in some of your previous births. Maybe that particular soul that was born to you as a child in this birth was once your enemy. He was your lifetime enemy. So you cursed him that he should have his legs broken, he should suffer a lot. Well, that happens because you are cursing that soul. You think that it is the body, but it is the soul that gets the curse, and it will experience that. But unfortunately it will experience that when it gets born to the cursor itself. So that's how it works. Similarly, the results of Kriya Yoga may happen when you least expected it. Maybe you were in India while you were trying this pretty hard, steadfast, and you died without any result. And after several births you may be born in some other country that is a Christian nation or a Muslim nation, where you were preached against any sort of yoga. But all of a sudden you will experience all the results that one can expect out of Kriya Yoga. Yes, you will suddenly feel some strange sensation in your spinal cord, and you will see some kind of blissfulness in your head. You may even experience that secretion. So you will be very curious to know what it is. You will be searching the internet and you will find, oh my god, it is the result of yoga, but I didn't do it, so who am I? So those two religions, Christianity and Islam, they don't believe in rebirth, but they know for sure they didn't do anything in this birth, but still they are testing the result of Kriya Yoga. Obviously it means they have done it in their past birth. So the idea of no rebirth gets shattered right at the moment when they experienced it. That's how people get out of their religions, because they start experiencing, so they can't question what they experience. This is not their imagination, they experience it. So this is how it happens, but they may not do anything, but all of a sudden it will just happen on its own. So that's how I met many members, especially many sisters, more than brothers, experience this, but they do nothing to attain that. They don't do any Kriya Yoga or any sort of yoga. All they do is they just consider themselves to be this imperishable soul, and they are connecting their mind directly to God, not to the breathing techniques, not to chakra, not performing any kind of yoga postures. They just sit comfortably in a chair and they just think of God and they just speak with God. That's it, and it gets activated. How is that? Why is that? Because they had been doing that for long, for one or several births in the past. So they were so serious about this endeavor, and now they are reaping the result without even wanting it. They are even scared of it now. So this is how it works. So it actually proves the fact that what you do has nothing to get this result, because they didn't do anything with this body in this birth. Of course they did with some other body in their past births, but if it is out of what they do with their body, they should have experienced in that birth and not in this birth. So they are experiencing that in this birth means that it is the matter of soul that performs this miracle and not the body or any physical activity. So we wanted that to happen, and that is happening now. We wanted that to happen in the past, and it is happening now. So even if you don't do anything, just if you strongly believe that something is going to happen in your head, it will definitely happen. That is what Jesus Christ said in the Bible, right? If you have even the least amount of faith and order the mountain to move away from that place, it will definitely break away from that. So it is all the matter of faith. But there is one more thing in addition to that. It is not just the faith, it is also how serious you are in attaining that. If you are ready to give up food, if you are ready to give up water, if you are ready to give up sex, then it proves that you are very serious in that endeavor. So obviously you will get the result very fast, maybe in that birth itself or in the next birth itself. So that is how it works. And these miracles are not in any way different from the miracles performed by Jesus Christ, because he knows very strongly that it is the faith that made all the miracles. He also says to the one who got cured of his disease that it is his faith that cured him and not Jesus is responsible for that. So it is the matter of faith. Not only that, as I have mentioned in the Mahavatar Babaji's video, you can also have visions of someone whom you believe strongly is God or angel or someone of divine nature. Then you can have visions of them. It doesn't mean they actually exist or they actually live now, but just to convince or to strengthen your faith, God makes this drama like that, to have the visions of them. Sometimes you will even have dreams of somebody who is dead. So while you are dreaming, you feel as if it is real, but is it real? You know for sure that they are dead. Similar, it is in no way different from what one experience while having visions of Mahavatar Babaji or Jesus Christ or Virgin Mary or Sri Raghavendra or Sati Sai Baba, whoever it is. It is purely your faith. It doesn't mean they are here. So God just it's a way of God comforting you. Don't worry, you are right. So it is a way of God communicating to humans that there is something that you can't grab by human mind that exists out there. So it is there. Only when God comes, he will reveal what it is, and that is exactly what we are going to reveal now. And regarding the promise one gave that while doing Kriya Yoga one gets peaceful and blissful, is that true? Because it is true that while you are doing breathing exercise, when you bring your consciousness to your breath or to the chakra or to the words, to the mantra that you chant, it is true that you are going to be peaceful for the amount of time that you are involved in that process. But what about the time outside that process? Because you can't do that throughout your day, right? So is that possible? Because it is true that breathing becomes shallow while we are at peace, and it becomes harsh when we are angry or when we are upset or when we are sad or when we are worried. But Does it not involve thoughts? Because it is the thought that makes your breath increase or decrease. So should we not control our thoughts instead of worrying about the breathing pattern, which is just a consequence of the thought process? So that is where all sorts of yoga created by humans fail, because when you are really angry, if you try to control your breath, that might result in getting heart attack also, because if your body is like that, when your mind is like that, you have to experience that kind of breath for you to survive. That is why body is behaving that way. If you want to forcibly stop that, then that's going to risk your life. So that's in no way going to get you live a long life, right? So everything is there in the thought process. One should know how to control that, and that is where true Kriya Yoga sits in. And the Kriya Yoga that we are going to reveal is taught directly by God to all humans, totally free of cost. It is for public. Unlike that Kriya Yoga where people say we can't teach it in public, we say we will teach it in public, totally free of cost, because it is God who teaches us this, and the reason He gives us this knowledge is to teach everybody around the world, because this is the only yoga that is going to benefit the whole humankind, and you have to practice this in your lifetime, and there is no choice. No matter what religion you belong to, what faith you hold on to, you still have to practice this. You will know why in a second. One cannot live his whole life concentrating on his breath. So how is it going to improve their life in any way? But the real Kriya Yoga will benefit, and we are going to reveal it. And regarding concentrating on different chakras, do they really work? So we can see that. Now let's go directly into the real Kriya Yoga, and then you will know why this Chakra Yoga or chanting mantras or concentrating on breathing is not going to be of any use. And before knowing this Kriya Yoga, you should have a brief introduction of the direct knowledge given directly by God Shiva. God says we are not this perishable body, it is our it is the imperishable soul who we really are, and that soul resides in between the two eyebrows in our forehead. It shines like a tiny point of light, like a star, and that is why in India it is a custom to wear a red dot here called bindi. So that soul determines the type of body we take in our next birth, and that soul determines what we think, what we see, what we eat, everything. In short, the soul is the performer. The body is just a tool to carry out the task as per the orders of the soul. He is the one who orders the body, who orders the eyes to see a particular thing, it orders the ears to listen to a particular thing, it orders the mind to think of a particular thing. You can compare this to a driver in a car. So it is the driver that decides how to drive a car. The car shouldn't decide how a driver should drive, right? Similarly, it is you, the soul, should decide what you should see, what you should hear, what you should think, what you should eat, what you should speak. But that is by bringing awareness to the fact that you are the soul that controls this body is called soul consciousness. But unfortunately, we are not in soul consciousness stage. We are all now in the body consciousness stage, which means instead of the soul dictating the senses, now the senses are dictating the soul. So the taste of a particular thing decides what a soul should eat. The attraction of a particular person decides whether or not the soul should see. So the external factors, they decide what a soul should do now. That is what we India call as Kali Yuga, the Stone Age, where people are filled with stone intellects, where they can't think correctly. But this is not the case right from the beginning. It has happened just recently, just for the last 2500 years. Especially very recently we have become this stone intellects. But in the beginning, that is 5000 years back, we were all soul conscious. We were not addicted to anything that is external to us, including the body. We would consider ourselves totally separate from this body. We will be considering ourselves as a tiny point of light that is distinct from this body. We know that we are operating this body and not vice versa. And that is why we didn't fall for lust, anger, greed or attachment. You can understand it very easily if you see this picture. So this is actually a 5000 year time cycle called Kalpa. So in and the significance of this Kalpa is whatever happens in one Kalpa, that keeps repeating Kalpa after Kalpa. So to understand it very easily, if you are watching this video now, it obviously means you have watched this video 5000 years back on this very same day, and that is what going to happen every 5000 years once on this very same day. So it is that accurate. And God says, because the knowledge that we give is given directly by God, it can never be false, because it is not created by any human, because humans are perishable, so are their knowledge. But this is the imperishable knowledge given by the imperishable eternal God. And God says, when we first took birth, the world was heaven for the first 2500 years, and that was when we were all totally soul conscious, which is why we didn't fall for lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego. These 5 vices is collectively called Satan or Maya or Ravan by different religions. So, and he comes into existence only after the completion of first 2500 years, and that is when the world, which was heaven in the beginning, slowly turns to hell. And now it has become very severe hell, where people suffer a lot out of serious diseases, serious relationship problems and natural calamities. All these things happen in hell mainly because we started to sin out of these 5 vices in the hell. You know why? Because we lost soul consciousness and we become body conscious in the hell, which is why we start making sins out of the thoughts that is raised out of these 5 vices like lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego. And God comes in the end from his supreme abode, which is golden red colored light world. This is called the soul world or Param Dham in Hindi and Parlog. In Hindi, the Christians call it Parlog, Hindus call it Parandham, which means the residence of the Supreme Soul, which is God. And he is a tiny point of light, just like we souls are, because he is also a soul. That is why he is called Supreme Soul. In India, we call him Param Atma. Atma means soul, Param Atma means the Supreme Soul, and his name is God Shiva. And it is this God Shiva who is called as Allah by Muslims, and it is this God Shiva who is called the Supreme Father or the Heavenly Father by Christians, because he is the father of all souls and not for this body. Because whatever God gives, the soul is going to take that, unlike the body that receives the inheritance from the bodily fathers. So we are born to a parent, we inherit their properties, and we can enjoy it as long as we are in this body. The minute we lose this body and start taking another body, we lose any right over the inheritance of the parents of this body. But God, he is the eternal Father, he is Father for us, and the inheritance that he gives lasts for birth after birth. No matter which family or religion you take birth, you will still enjoy his inheritance. So God comes in the end to give his inheritance, and what is that? That is heaven. He gives in the last 100 years of hell, because he's actually training us to be a part of heaven, to be the resident of heaven. In heaven, nobody knows what lust is, nobody knows what anger is. So to enter heaven, we have to have the habits of the residents of heaven. They are called deities, and they are being worshipped by Hindus as deities, and they are none but as in our beginning stage when we first descended to this earth. And we were deities in the beginning, and God says, so we will become deities again. So God basically comes here to teach us Raj Yoga, to make us back to deities. That is why he gives this yoga. This yoga is also called Raj Yoga because he makes us into kings. In Hindi, Raja means, Raj means the king. So it is God who brings the kingdom back to earth, kingdom of heaven back to earth. So that is why God comes, and that is the duty of God, and his duty is needed only in the end. That is why God comes only in the end, and he doesn't come in the middle, because he is also a part of drama. He is also controlled by drama. He can't come as he wishes. The essence of his teachings is, you have to forget your body. You have to forget that you are this body, because you are not this body. You are the imperishable soul that controls this body. Try to bring this awareness as much as possible. Try to bring this awareness no matter what you do. So while you walk, try to bring this awareness that you are the soul that operates this body. You are the soul that sees through the eyes. You are the soul that walks through your legs. So it is the soul that orders every part of your body to work the way as it does. So you are the controller. You should not be controlled by the body, because only when by becoming body consciousness, your body or the physical senses started to have control over you, which is why you start committing sins, because of which you endure punishments now in the form of diseases, natural calamities and relationship problems. So to put an end to it forever, the only way out is to wash away your sins, because it is you who has committed the sins and it is you who have to wash away those sins as well. God's duty is just to show you the path. And how do you do that? You have to consider yourselves to be the imperishable souls, and you have to connect your mind to the God who is also a soul that shines like a tiny star in the golden red colored light world. So you have to visualize in your mind of God as a point of light that shines like a star in the golden red colored sky. And you have to remember him as loving as possible, because he is your father. And how do you get love? Because by reading any religious books, you will never get love on God, because all that religious books do is to portray God as someone who is cruel, who is wicked, who is ordering people to kill each other. Then how can you possibly have love for God? We do say God is love, but the scriptures say it totally different. So you will know the love of God only through God, only when you listen to God directly. And how do you get that? God's knowledge is given as Murli in all Raj Yoga meditation centers that is spread across the globe. You can either Google it or you can WhatsApp me in this number so that I can help you locate the Raj Yoga meditation center in your area. And the WhatsApp number you need to leave message for me is +91 98 946 71743. And what will happen if you think of God continuously? Because God asks us to think of him for the minimum of 8 hours per day. So God is not going to get any benefit out of it. It is our sins that's going to get washed off. And how do we know that our sins are washed off? Now, as I mentioned earlier, these 5 vices or sins, lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego, by thinking of God constantly, you will see that you will not be impacted by these vices. So that is when you will know for sure that you have regained the strength that is necessary to re-enter heaven. So if you don't accumulate the strength that is necessary to enter heaven in the beginning, then we will stay there, because in the middle of heaven and hell there will be the world destruction, which is going to be caused by natural calamities and the world war. And during that time all the souls will leave their bodies and enter the soul world. But those souls which accumulated the energy sufficient to enter heaven in the beginning, they will come down, take birth in the beginning and start the heaven fully right from the beginning. But once it starts taking birth, it will never return back to where it came from. It will have to enter the rebirth cycle. So it will go back to the home, the sweet home, Parandam. Only the world destroys again. That happens only in the end of Kali Yuga. So if you haven't acquired that much power, because maybe you don't have faith in God, or maybe you don't have the power to conquer lust, anger, greed, attachment, then you will be entering the heaven later. But the moment you listen to this knowledge, even if you have a tiny bit of faith in that, or if you have understood this knowledge to be right, then you will definitely enter heaven. But whether or not you enter in the beginning, it is purely determined by the amount of effort you put in conquering all these vices completely. So if you have conquered them completely, then you will enter in the beginning. If you have conquered them only half, then you will enter in the middle of heaven. If you haven't conquered at all, then you will take the last birth. If you have no faith at all, then you wouldn't enter heaven. You will stay there till the world completes the first 2500 years. Then when it starts becoming hell, only then you will start taking birth. So that is how it works. So that's the yoga taught directly by God. So here you connect your mind with God continuously. That is what yoga means, right? Connecting yourself, uniting with God intellectually. No way that we can merge with God. We can merge with God only intellectually, thought wise. That's it. Physically it is impossible, because soul cannot be merged or dissolved or burnt or washed away. It cannot be moistened. So that's the characteristic of soul as explained by Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So same applies to the Supreme Soul, God Shiva. So we have accumulated sins for the half of this kalpa, that is for the last 2500 years. So we would have committed innumerable sins. So it is not enough to do this yoga just for 30 minutes or 10 minutes or 1 hour. So we have to do this yoga continuously as much as possible, because we have so much sins accumulated in our souls. So we have to bring attention constantly to the fact that we are souls, and we have to connect our mind to God so that our sins get washed off. So this is the true yoga. This is the only yoga. This is the yoga taught directly by God in the beginning, just before the establishment of heaven to humans. And this yoga that is emerged in hell again, it just emerges out of them instantly, but not in the right way. That is why they know they have to think of God, but they do not know how God looks like. That is why they started to chant some mantra or start focusing on the body parts like chakras, or bringing their focus on the breath, but they are not God. No matter how long you are going to say Om, you are not going to be connected to God. You are not going to get anything out of it, except that you will become tired eventually. So this is the yoga. This is the actual Kriya Yoga, because you are performing actions and still you are connected to God. And by connecting to God, the actions whatever you perform, that can never go sinful. Because if you are not soul conscious, if you are not remembering God, obviously you will be seeing the external beauty of a girl or guy, which itself is a sin. That is why Jesus Christ in Bible has said that looking at a girl lustfully itself is a prostitution, is a sin. But people think that he refers to other girls other than one's own wife, but no, he is actually referring to your wife, not to other girls, because back then nobody used to look lustfully at other girls. Only now it's become such an habit. In the beginning they started to, that is Jesus Christ, he took birth right here, right? That is in the beginning of hell. So that is when people started to have that lust feeling. In the heaven nobody knows what lust is, which is why they have that enormous power. Whatever they think, that will happen in that very instant. If they want it to rain, it will rain. If they want it to stop, it will stop. So that's the kind of power they possessed initially. So, and we have lost all the power, and God comes to give that power back. So Kriya Yoga, so this Raj Yoga is indeed the Kriya Yoga. That is, Kriya means the action, performing action, yoga, while uniting with God. So staying connected with God while performing actions is what Kriya Yoga is all about. So when you are connected with God, you know what his orders are. We should stay away from these 5 vices. We should never cause harm to anybody in thoughts, word or action. So you will be very cautious and conscious of God's teachings and what we are originally looking at. We would not be deceived by the external beauty. Instead, we would be focusing on who they truly are, that is the soul. We know that they are bound by this drama. Whatever happens in this cycle that keeps repeating cycle after cycle, it means everybody's part is pre-recorded in their soul. So they have to play that part. So there's no point in getting angry or getting worried about how he behaved like that to me, because that's how he has to behave as per drama plan. So by having this knowledge, you will be staying out of it. You will never get worried. Just see, they promise in Kriya Yoga that your characters will change, that you will stay peaceful forever. Only by knowing this knowledge you can stay at peace, right? And also, you know, everything that happens is for good, because the drama will eventually do good to all. So by having the strong faith on the drama, on the God, then we need not be worried about anything, whether it's political, it's climatical or whatever. We need not worry, because every single suffering that we have to experience, that is caused purely out of our past karma, of our past births. Because according to the law of karma, one has to reap the consequences of his karma. If you are doing good things, you will definitely reap the benefit of it, either in that birth or in your future births. Similarly, if you are committing sins, then you will be punished for that, either in that birth or in your future births. So if somebody misbehaves with you, you know for sure that you have caused pain to him in his previous births. So there's no point in fighting with him. Instead, while connecting your mind with God, just accept whatever he gives to you. And moreover, you can't listen to him if you connect your mind to God. This way you will not get tense, you will not be worried. In other words, the external person will have no control over how you should react, because you are connected to God and you will be acting out the willing of God. So that is something that we can know through the teachings of God Shiva, which is available as Murli in all Rajoga meditation centers, as I mentioned earlier. And to get the address of the Rajoga meditation centers, please WhatsApp me at this number +919894671743, so that I can help you locate the address of the Rajoga meditation centers in your country, in your area. So just because we consider ourselves to be this body, to be a man, that we are attracted to a female. So it is a mind game, and God says you are not this body, because you will be born again and again as human, not as animal or planet, as Hindus widely believe, but you will be born alternatively as a girl or as a guy. So you know, it is the soul that has taken a male or female body, so there is no point in getting attracted to it. So you will stay out of lust. If you stay out of lust, obviously you will stay out of greed, anger and attachment. So this is the only way that you can stay peaceful and blissful throughout your life, right? So think for a second, what we say and what other gurus say and decide for yourself which is true, because whatever we said, it is the teachings of God. Whatever others say, they are the teachings of humans. Humans can never find the truth on their own. Only God can show us the truth, and He is showing the truth. And whatever religious texts or the scientific texts you fall on, they will eventually fail in the end. And the reason I said chakras won't work in achieving this target is because you are bringing your focus to the Mooladhara, which is present in your genital region. So you don't have to do yoga to bring your focus on your genital region, because we in Kali Yuga are already focused right there. Everybody is a slave of lust or sex here. So what is the point of doing it as a yoga? So that is what they do in Tantra yoga, right? So you need not do that. So it is because our focus is right there, we are suffering all these things. To get rid of these sufferings, you have to forget your body totally, and for that we have to consider yourself as the soul that is entirely different from this body. And the soul as such has no strength to conquer the vices, and only way to strengthen our soul is to connect our mind to God. It is more like charging our soul. So we have to continuously charge our soul with remembrance and also with the knowledge of God called Murli. So this is the true Kriya Yoga. You can do it every second of your life, and when you are involved in doing this, in remembering God, you will find yourself performing correctly, deciding correctly, seeing correctly. So you will not sin either in thoughts or words or actions. So what is the end result? You will be blissful, because you will be considering yourself as the soul. The more awareness that you bring to the fact that you are the soul, you will experience yourself blissful. The reason is the true nature of the soul is peacefulness, blissfulness, powerfulness and purity. So, and the thing that stops you from enjoying that powerfulness, blissfulness, peacefulness is the body consciousness. So you have to forget your body, and even while conversing with others, you have to see them in their forehead, in between the eyebrows, so that you can focus on their souls, because it is the soul that actually speaks. So the more you practice this, you will find your life getting transformed in a more positive way, so that you can contribute better to this society. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching. So help spread the word across by sharing this video, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click on that bell notification so that you will be notified of our future videos. If you still believe that what you heard so far is true and not what I said in this video, then you can just try it out, experiment it yourself, then you will know the truth. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching.